What's going on, Illumineers? Welcome back to episode, what are we, 5 now, I think? 5 of the 4, 5,
Sounds about right.
somewhere around there, of the Freedom Gaming Podcast. Um, we are here, not too much, well, I guess outside of, Seattle, but just going to just kind of cover some set champ stuff, go over our Seattle predictions, and then look at some spoilers and some recent news. So we have almost the entire team here. Welcoming back Joey to my left after a short absence. Joey, how we doing tonight?
Doing good. Glad to be back.
Definitely glad to have you back. Next up to the bottom left of me, we got Mike. Mike, how are we tonight?
I'm doing great. Just a little bit of FOMO, obviously, because Seattle's right around the corner
Hmm.
and we are all stuck at home.
Yeah, I feel you, which we unfortunately have to talk about, but it's okay. And then last and certainly not least, underneath me, we got Brian. Brian, how are you doing tonight?
Fantastic, man. Doing well. Thanks for having us and hosting us again.
Yeah, of course. It's also always good when we can get the squad together to talk about this
Mhm.
Disney card game. Obviously we are still in the middle of set championships. Still have, I think this is technically the last weekend outside of that one online one going on. That someone was able to host down in Florida. But I know everyone but myself was able to play this week. Brian played in one, Mike played in two, and Joey played in one. And I think everyone left with at least one Maribel. So shout out to everyone for showing up. Brian, we'll start with you. I know you had a smaller one compared to everyone else. So how was your set championship this past weekend?
Yeah, it definitely was much smaller. The community here, as I've mentioned in the past, they're great people, but it's not as big. Granted, like I don't think it's gonna be hard to compare to South Florida with all the
Yep.
local game stores and stuff down there. Here, within like a 30-35 minute drive, we only have three, so kind of limited. But I did thankfully showed up and we went all the way. Got the Mirabelle as well as the championship mat, and then little
Oh,
cherry on top. Last pack magic, Rip Day Enchanted. So pretty happy with all that.
Let's
And
go.
yeah, and gonna play in one more I think this weekend. But yeah, super
Nice.
happy overall.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know you played Emerald Steel this past weekend. Are we running it back with Emerald Steel, or are we gonna go somewhere else?
I think we're just gonna play something for fun. I'm looking at a green blue, or I might
Mhm.
run Blurple. But just to get in there, throw everybody off.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
we played the serious deck, got the championship mat, and now I can show up and do whatever I want.
There you go. What's
there you
that?
go.
But
What's that? Technically, three championship mats. You've won every
yeah,
every set championship. So there you
yeah.
go. Definitely a good
Good.
stuff there. So go and run it back and get one more. So Mike, I know you played two varying results. How did you feel with your two events?
I played two this?
Did you play
I think I
two?
only played one.
Did you only play one?
I think I only
I
played
think you
one
only
there.
played one.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess everyone only played one. I thought you
I
played
can't
two.
remember. Oh, Saturday we went to the hockey game. So yeah, I definitely only
Oh,
played
Yeah,
one.
yep.
yeah.
That's what. Okay, yeah.
Um,
It was the week
yep.
before you played two, I
I
think, right?
Hmm.
yep, yep.
Okay.
And after, so I was a little inspired after watching the tournament that took place in Europe.
Hmm.
I saw a Blurple player got a pretty high ranking. I think he finished top eight. I'm not sure if he got past top four, but um, looking at his list, I added a couple of things. I just literally got to the store before we played. I was like, I want to try some of these cards that he had in there. So I added like a one of Scrooge McDuck and a couple
Oh.
of McDuck Manners and
Mhm.
extra bells, and it ran pretty well. I got blasted by a red purple player using Scar,
Oof.
um, which is pretty rough for Blurple
Hmm.
because they just can wipe the board and then still have the B prep after. So it was a rough match. It was played. He won die roll. That was my top eight. No, that wasn't my
No, that was
top
my
eight.
top 8 opponent.
Yeah, that was the second to last round. And then I
Hmm.
played a good friend, Alex Blair, down here
Hmm.
on green purple in top eight with Diablos, and our matches were super super close. But he ended up taking it in 3 games.
Oh wow.
So
Crazy
it was
game
good. It
three.
was it was a good time. Like it was like, even though it was a smaller tournament, I want to say it was about 20 people. It was all 20 very very good people. So it was a good tournament. Good time to get some fun testing, and that's what these are about.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. And I know you'd been talking about the McDuck Manners for a little bit, like going back to them too. So,
Mm.
how did they feel though? Or you didn't really see them that
Nah,
much?
it was great. Except into purple because
Okay.
of the
Hmm.
crabs and
Yeah.
everything
And
else.
they could just get rid of it anyway.
Um, yeah, Scrooge McDuck felt amazing.
Okay.
Also, I played an Amber Steel, which is kind of a harder matchup for my list as it was before. With the McDuck Manners, they couldn't answer.
Yeah, that 9 health is
Freddie was
difficult
on
for
Steel
them.
Song.
Oh,
It was it was nasty.
yeah.
Then he could never come back from how much lore I was gaining every turn. So
That's sick.
yeah, I really do like the McDuck Manners at 2 and Library at 3. I think I'm gonna keep that.
Mhm.
I don't think I can drop Mickey Mouse because I think that's like the one thing I couldn't do.
Yeah.
'Cause that list, I know I'm referencing. Maybe we could throw it up or something, but
Mhm.
he's only on Tipo and Greystone Dragon as his ramp.
He played like 3 Greatstone Dragons, I think, if I remember off the top,
3 of
right?
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he talked about it too, which I get it. You never want to see more than one, so I get like not wanting to play 4.
Mhm.
But you just want to make sure you can consistently see it. I've played too many games where I don't see Tipo, and if I didn't see Mickey, I'm playing way too fair.
Yep.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And then Mickey into Singing Friends is just such a good play.
Yep.
Sure.
And I have a hard time dropping Mickey Mouse, so
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'm still holding on to that. But he had great success with his list, so it's cool to see.
Yep, there we go. But anyway, congrats on yet another top 8. And then Joey, last, certainly not least, I know you had another top 8 as well with your Emerald Sapphire deck, which you still have to make a video about. So
Yes, I do. Yes.
So how did you feel from the event?
Yeah, no, it was good. Different list. I was inspired by the ILC, the Illumineers Champions League.
ICL.
ICL, that too. Ducky played a green-blue deck on Friday, and I just kind of saw the game plan that he was going with, and I carbon copied his list and went with it. And deck performed really well. Played a red-purple match in the Swiss. Ended up getting it in 3 games. Definitely on the draw is more difficult just because of Flynn combo is just really difficult to deal with. And then dropping a castle right after, and if you don't have the right tempo, it's game over. Lost to a green steel in Swiss as well, into an insane. On turn 4, he had double... what's the card? The one that discards you for 2, Sudden Chill. He double Sudden Chilled me when I was about to Clarabelle him the following turn, but I wasn't able to have enough cards now to Clarabelle his deck. It was just a brutal swing of events. Lost in top 8 to red purple. Deck bricked super hard in top 8. I think after my second turn in games 2 and 3, I only drew ramp.
Yeah, that'll do.
All the cards off the top of my deck was just ramp cards and none of the payoffs. So that's the thing with ramp decks. Sometimes you just see the wrong half. This version's a little bit more aggro slanted, playing the Scrooge McDuck, like Mikey was talking about as well. Going 1-drop, Tipo, into Scrooge McDuck. A lot of decks struggle with that. And especially when you're able to go 1-drop, Tipo, Diablo, Scrooge McDuck. Not very many decks can deal with that whatsoever.
Yep, definitely. But again, it sounds like another great performance. I mean, the 2 times you've played this deck, like in paper events, like you've top 4'd and top 8'd. So I'm gonna stick with it. Gonna try to figure some stuff out.
I think so. I've been flirting around with a green-yellow deck. Also inspired by one of the guys that played on Friday.
Yep.
With 0 to hero in Clarabelle, getting it out on turn 3.
Yep.
Is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I was goldfishing that one a little bit. It's interesting. I don't know if I would actually play it ever, but it's definitely interesting.
But I'm starting to think about like different lines that 0 to hero like gives you in a ramp deck, and maybe you could run a Maribel in some sort of yellow version with a 0 to hero, with a bunch of weenies. I know, Mikey. I'm gonna make it work.
Sounds. I don't know. I'll let you work on that one, and then you can prove us wrong.
We'll see. I'm cooking with something.
All right. Yes, so that's Set Championships. Like I said, I hope
It's burned. It's burned. Take it off the stove.
Oh my god.
Yep. We'll see.
Just let it go, Joey.
I just pictured Joey's in the kitchen cooking, but there's like no pot. He's just like make believe. There's nothing.
Just
playing
like
Laconic cards on top of the stove.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
So, all right, putting a bow in set championships. Good luck to anyone playing this next weekend. Like I said, let us know how you guys feel with your decks, what you guys are looking to play, or any questions you have as well for us. Just hit us up in the comment section. We are more than happy to answer any of them. So just shifting gears now to, because we can talk about LCQ, because that should be a pretty easy one to talk about. So to those of you that don't know, the EU LCQ information did come out, and it is quite a doozy. So they are having 32 brackets of 32 people each. So that comes out to 1024. So it's like a standard 1K challenge, and they're all single elimination brackets. And you have to go 5-0 in your bracket to gain your spot into the EU Continentals. It's best of 3, and it's 90 euros. So you are paying 90 euros to potentially lose one round.
Oh, I didn't know that was the cost.
Yes.
That's what,
Yeah.
$100 bucks?
Crazy.
It's like it's more over $100 American.
There are a few additional things that you get to do. It's
Yeah,
like
of course,
you
yeah.
get a
Yeah,
pass
you get some losses
for you and a +1. So like
Mhm.
even if you, let's say you don't make it or whatever, there's like a Disney passport, and you can go around the
Yeah,
event
do
and
stuff,
get your
yeah.
stamps, and I
If
think
you
it includes some
lose-
stuff for like Pack Rush or something.
Yeah,
But
if you lose, I think one of the first 2 rounds, I think you get like a free side event entry for like a 3-round side event, like that same day or something like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's
Yeah, they're
definitely.
trying to keep you there on the property so you can actually
Mhm.
enjoy the event as
Yep.
it's going on.
And they did say something that like for the people that are actually playing, they get discounted Disneyland tickets, which is even though Paris Disneyland is kind of mid from what I've heard, but it's still pretty cool though to have that included. So hopefully we see some stuff like that over here in the for NA Continentals in January, which we have not heard about yet. But it is like definitely super brutal. So just like in a like looking at it like underneath the microscope, like how do you guys feel about like this like very very like strict, like you're like everyone like everyone there is going to win five rounds, like 5 rounds, like you want to win 5 rounds of
So-
Lorcana.
I actually think it's less strict than a DLC.
Oh,
Yep.
This may be a hot take because
I agree.
it's a real format, so you're playing best of 3 instead of a 2-round format. So you can overcome like the game, your deck bricks or whatever it might be, or you just get ran over by one aggro player because you weren't sure what they were on. Where losing that one game in a DLC can cost you a lot. You can overcome that in a best of 3. Now, if you have to overcome it multiple times, that becomes a real grind.
Yep.
I don't like that single elimination is kind of rough.
yeah, that's
that
it's-
feels bad.
that's what I mean. Like it's like you're showing up to play 1 round of Lorcana potentially, and like so like I think also I think that because we see it at every DLC, like that they don't they like whatever the cap is, it's never there. Like they're or I think maybe Atlanta was. But like you always, if you ever go back and look, like you'll see like it's always underneath. And this isn't going to be like a DLC where it's like there'll be one buy. Like it just depends on which bracket. Like say like there's 30 people that don't show up and 10 of them come from the same bracket. Like there's going to be a ton of buys. And like if like
Sure.
Yeah.
buys are playing buys, then like someone could realistically have like their first 2 rounds like just free wins, and then like they have to win. Yeah, like so like I think that it's just I don't. I think I probably would have rather have it just be like 10-24 and then just go down like have like one big bracket
Sure.
like that. But
But
again,
I
like
feel like they could also have the pairings go up the day of to eliminate that. So have a player check-in meeting and then
Before it kicks
go
off.
from there.
But
Yeah,
you
but-
could still
but-
end up with a buy here and there. But
Sure.
if you guys remember back when we went to Atlanta, like there was no real incentive to keep playing. And then like round 3, everybody collected their Dragon Fire,
The
I
dropped,
was like, peace.
and then it was like a bunch of buys popped off and stuff.
Yeah.
They've kind of mitigated that and stuff now with like the point system. But I do think for the LCQ, I think they're going to be a little bit more stringent. At least from the
That's
most
what we hope
recent
for.
DLCs and stuff. But there's definitely the chance, if things can happen, mistakes can be made. I do think like for anybody traveling like across the ocean, let's say if you're coming from NA to EU to try to snag a last minute spot, and then you pay all that money up front, and then you never know, trading card games. you could show up ready as you've ever been, and then like your deck breaks 2-3 times in a row.
Or you run
Yeah.
into like your auto loss.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Could you imagine
Yeah.
playing like going over with like Ruby Sapphire and you run into just like hyper aggro? And the guy goes like Daisy, Daisy, Daisy.
yeah. To that
Yeah.
point too, right? Like, do you play things a little bit more differently? Or are you taking a different deck? Maybe, like RP is the most fair,
Mm-hmm.
50-50, whatever it
Consistent.
is.
Yeah.
So like now that's not that 2-game format anymore, and it's a single elimination.
Yeah.
How many people are going to take a different deck, or do you stick with what you know and hope you dodge all your bad matchups, right?
Yep.
So definitely curious. I know there was some like some back and forth on online forums and stuff about like the potential for Kingmaker brackets where it kind of gets stacked in people's favors. Like,
Mm.
just throwing it out there. Well, I'd be super interested, right? Like, I would love to see all these brackets and see the names, because you could have certain brackets that just are entirely stacked or one-sided. So super interested.
I will say that I definitely think that like this isn't going to be like a challenge, like where it's like people are just showing up to play Lorcana. Like there is a very specific reason why people are going to be playing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they're like, so I think it is designed. An LCQ is designed to be very sweaty, like to be like
Yes.
everyone there is someone who realistically has aspirations of winning the event the next day. Like you
This
wouldn't.
isn't my first competitive competition. This isn't the
Exactly,
first time I played Lorcana.
This isn't their first
you're
time.
there to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, like they have the aspirations, or maybe they were someone who went to multiple challenges. So like this
Mhm.
is if you are going like definitely be prepared for the sweat and the grind for sure.
I don't know. I think you're still gonna have a lot of people that will want to go to Disneyland, and they play Lorcana, and it's like their thing. They're like, okay, we'll make a vacation out of it, and we'll get this chance to play in a tournament as well. I
Yeah,
I
don't
but
think
think
it's going to be their first, but I do think you're
no,
going to have people that are not.
it'll be like an 80-20, like
Yeah,
80 competitive, 20 casual. But like
yeah, I mean, it's
in
just
the
Sit down
spirit of an
across.
LCQ, like
Oh man, I'm sure there's gonna be one, right? Like you sit down across from your opponents, like, oh no, this is my first competitive
always
event. You're like,
there's always
oh,
one somewhere. Yeah, you
I'm
always
just
find
tagging
some.
along. I
people
just want to go to
say that.
Disneyland.
I used to play Magic.
Spiking it.
I used to play Magic. My friend gave me a deck and said, "Here, play."
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be.
Classic.
I mean, it'll be interesting. I hope there's coverage of it.
Mhm.
Like there is, like they usually is, like they would for a challenge. I think that'd be super interesting. Just to see like the different matchups, the different brackets. Like to your point, Brian, just being able to see like all the brackets and how they break down, and to see like, oh man, maybe in like the top four match, we're gonna get like a crazy matchup of two people that that are just like two like well-known like online
Yeah.
players or something, or two people that got far into DLC but didn't quite make the top 16. So I think it'd be super interesting just to see. Or maybe it's gonna be 32 people that are just like we just didn't know, because it truthfully is
yeah.
Europe and
Yeah.
anything can happen.
Well, and
I
I
would love.
hopefully go ahead.
I would love if they like were able to provide additional stats, like how many people are gonna like
Mhm.
fly in. Is it all gonna be like local? I'd love to know how many people are like coming in from different parts of the world to play, and then maybe we'll see how that translates to NA, because as they've mentioned as well, it's gonna be different from how EU is running their things, right?
Let them guinea pig it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we have
Yeah.
no idea if it's going to be even sweatier, right? If there's less slots open for the NA, because we've had more events. If they're going to increase it, how they plan on doing it, and we're all still waiting.
Yep.
And as we saw this week, the tickets were supposed to go on sale on 2 p.m. on Wednesday, and then they reversed the decision. Now it's on October 31st. I would love to know why. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We definitely do with some more concrete information.
Agreed.
I hope they update or make a more conceded effort to like production level higher, to like have better streams, more cameras to like showing the field and stuff like that. I think back to like Pokemon Worlds, where like they're panning over the crowd, like you're seeing a stage, like it's more high level because we're at nationals, like
Yeah.
we're
For sure.
setting up for
I
Worlds.
think we will see that, and to their credit, at least on the NA side with PPG and stuff, from the first DLC Atlanta that we went
For
to
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
like Toronto and stuff,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
the production value has
Yep.
increased
Mhm.
significantly.
Mhm.
How they separate the rooms now for
Mhm.
their day 2 and whatever it is, or their
With like the
The
stream
the
hall.
setup.
streamed events. Yeah. So I definitely am excited to see how they run it. Um, I'm super stoked for like I guarantee they're going to do like intros and whatever.
Hope so.
And then
Yeah.
for next year, right? Like for Worlds, I don't know about the
Mhm.
Continentals, but for Worlds, I think there'll be some really cool like
Oh, for sure.
intros and
At
and
Yeah.
then see what
Disneyland,
they
the
tease.
world.
Yeah, and then see what gets teased for next season.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So
And again, like this is
super
still,
stoked.
and like I know we've talked about this before. This is still like the first year of the game, the first, or well, like just over the first year, the first year of competitive play. Realistically, like looking back at Pokemon, like Pokemon started streaming consistently like 2012, and that was only for like Nats and Worlds type stuff. So like Pokemon has been doing this for like 12, 13 years at
For
this
sure.
point. So like just to see
Mhm.
kind of like where they're at, like even the growth like within like from Atlanta to Vegas, and just like
Mhm.
being able to just like even like the whole like experience like when I got to play in Toronto, like it was just like so it was I was very impressed with like how like what they did with like the cameras and everything, like having like the hand cameras, even though I
Mhm.
feel like I've watched my match recently and like I feel like they didn't even pan to like my hand too much.
Sure.
They're more so like I feel like they just got it, but they're still working on it and it definitely
Yeah.
worked
More
well.
practice.
Yep. So, anyway, so that is LCQ. So definitely super interested to see what's going to happen for NA and how this works out for EU in December. But then obviously the big event this week is going to be the last DLC in Seattle, which starts well, I guess side events are tomorrow, but main event
Mhm.
starts on Saturday. So the big news coming out of the last, or the big, yeah, I guess the big competitive news out of the last set of DLCs was just how prominent Emerald Steel was. Um, it was kind of like the worst kept secret in Lorcana. That everyone knew that it was good, but they didn't know like which package you were going with. Were you playing mid range? Were you playing discard? Were you playing super aggro? And then it ended up being just kind of just like a hodgepodge of all three. Were like the
Yeah.
best decks, looking with Zan Syed's list, which he ended up winning with. So what are you guys expecting to see this weekend? Are we going to see the reign of Emerald Steel continue, or do you think something like how do you think the other decks adjust to it?
Uh,
Yeah.
I think Green Steel's still going to be pretty good,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I really think this is going to be the return of Red Blue. Um, I think that they're going to be super tacked for that Green Steel,
Mhm.
and Green Steel inherently destroys Hyper Aggro as well, so it
Mhm.
kind of helps out Red Blue,
Mhm. Yep.
in my opinion. So it's kind of feeding more into that beast, that machine, if you will, of Red Blue.
Mhm.
Um, Red Purple has made some adjustments as well with the Finders Keepers tech that's getting thrown out there now.
Mhm.
I think even I saw No, I'm not talking about it, so
Mhm.
I don't know. I still think Red Purple's really good, Red Blue's really good, Steel Song's still very good. Um,
Best high roll in the game.
yeah, I'm excited. I am really excited. I
Yep.
know Chuck's not going, so I won't pick Steel Song this time.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm.
I do think with a lot of people coming from EU and EU being
Mhm.
such a red blue heavy, right?
Yeah,
Um,
more control-y than we are over here.
yeah, for sure. Like if we look back at the stats and decks that got played in EU during same time frame with the Vegas and Birmingham, there was like little to no Emerald Steel.
Mhm. Yep.
So super interested. I think there'll still be Emerald Steel is still going to be very prominent, but Red Blue has I think everybody started teching a little bit
Mhm.
harder for the
Mhm.
Diablos, the 2-drop Ursulas and stuff. So I don't want to make any hard uh, guesses as to what's gonna win. There, I think more for me, I'm curious with all the return of people that have already earned their invitations.
Mhm.
How many of those people make day two again?
Mm.
And then if they make, let's say, top 16, I want to see where their invitation is going to drop to, like who
Yeah.
gets to
A
sneak
good
in.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's gonna
and
be interesting
then
for sure.
and then I would love to know whatever came of the cheating accusations.
Yeah.
Where does that, not so much for the drama, but like what happens
To
to
his
that
invite.
invite?
Mhm.
Is he still going? Does
Sure.
it, who gets it from there? Like,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
we'll see.
It could really honestly, like realistically, like they could just like kill the invite. Honestly, it could just be just one less person. Like it may not even get
Yeah.
passed down. Like
Give
how
an
would
extra slot to the LCQ.
yeah
Yeah.
something along those lines. Yeah.
Everybody shows up to fight for one spot.
Oh God, that would be oh God.
That'd be
A
brutal.
real LCQ.
Yeah, for real,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Joey, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of green steel. I think it's going to be the most represented deck. Do I think it's going to win? I don't think so.
Oh,
However,
please.
I just think it's going to be one of the most represented day two decks because it does its game plan so much better than everyone else. Like you can hard mulligan for a Diablo combo with a Cove and all that, and you're looking at the tech cards for all these other matchups, and it's like you're mulliganing for a 3 of, a 4 of, maybe a 6 of. Like they're mulliganing for 10 cards, like 20 cards, 30 cards. Like there's so much that they can. There's so many avenues that they can take to start their game. I think it's just super consistent in a high, like a just that type of format, the 2-game format. You can just 2-0 every single match if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah,
like
I
what
guess
Mikey's
I guess to Joey's point, with the 700 player event that just happened last weekend,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
they put out the stats of like the matchups and how those played out, and Emerald Steel had across the board like
Yeah.
the best results.
Because no
against-
matter how much you tech against it, like if you just cannot deal with Diablo on turn 2 every single game, you just can't outlast it. Like it's just such a good open. It's the best opener on in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think red blue is just super consistent. It can do its job just as well. It just needs to turn the corner at some point, keep a hand, and go. I think it has favorable matchups across the board. And I think also red purple has a good shot as well, coming back with some more consistency. I think it is a true control deck in the sense that it adapts to what the meta is, and the tech cards for them is like in their mid game and trying to find out those numbers and figuring out the meta and where it lies is going to dictate how red purple plays.
Yeah, for sure. And there's just so many ways that like that deck just never dies. Like it's literally been
Exactly.
and with that along with Amber Steel, like those two decks have been the decks that have been consistent the entire lifespan of Lorcana. And then even like Sapphire Emerald or Ruby Sapphire a little bit. Was like that was mainly a set 2 deck with the popsicles though.
Yeah.
But anyway, with like this just like it was like looking back at set 1 how it was like a super control deck, and then like set 2 it became more of like a burn deck with like the goats and everything. Once you got like, the bounces and everything, and now it's kind of just a good deck. Like
A
it's
grind.
It's just a grind. Yeah, like it just grinds out the game so much better than any other deck right now. But again, like there's still it's like I was listening to or someone was talking about it on one of the discords. It might have been Kendall, honestly, and he was like, someone was like, "Oh, should I play RP this weekend?" And he was like, "Do you want to just have 45% into everything?" And it's like that is so true. Like you have game into everything, but you're not favored in everything. So it's just like the deck just does its thing. Like, are you playing like the Flynn Sisu line? Are you playing just more like bounces and like more control, like you were talking about, Joey? So, again, it's super interesting, like because we don't have anyone there. Like none of us are going, so like we can all kind of just watch and just enjoy it. I guess, which is like definitely a different experience this time around.
A lot of South Florida people still going though.
Oh yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of people.
A lot of people to root
cheering
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But it's
I think dark horse for this is gonna be Sapphire Steel.
Yeah, it seems like it's in a good spot.
If you can dodge red blue, I don't
And
know
play
what other
green
matchup.
steel.
Yeah.
I don't know what other matchup you're super unfavored against. Especially because a lot of the Steel Song decks are playing Naveen instead of Daisy, or a mixture of the two.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I feel like that's the only thing they can't answer. Sapphire Steel is Daisy is kind of rough for them. But
yeah, they need to like
Early on.
Yeah, they need
Argus, I guess, is what it is. Like on the draw, like that's a turn 2 play.
Yeah.
And they can just storm it. So yeah, that's rough. But yeah, I think Sapphire Steel. I think that's a deck I'd look out for.
Yep,
For sure.
definitely,
I agree.
definitely. So DLC Seattle. Good luck to anyone going. Look forward to the event. I think it's a 1024, right? It's not a 2048, or is it? I think it's 1024, right?
I don't know.
I think it's max.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think.
I think it's max.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know if they got the additional or not, but whatever. We'll see it.
Yeah.
All right. So just closing us out, we got some spoiler talk. There's been a lot of Azurite Sea spoilers in the past, probably past week, probably since the last time
Yeah.
we did a pod. A lot more than we.
Last 72 hours have been crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The spoils have been insane.
yeah, and it's like there've been some bangers in just about every ink color as well. So we're not going to do ink play banish like we did last week. Because we had so many less cards. So I think what we're gonna do now is each of the other three have two ink colors that they're gonna talk about, 1 to 2 cards in each one, and that they like, why, and just kind of just gonna go back and forth like that. So let's start with Joey. We haven't really started with Joey yet. Joey's kind of been the caboose this week. So
Yeah.
let's start it up, Joey. So your two colors are amber steel. So
Yeah.
let's see some amber steel spoilers. What are some that catch your eye?
So one of the best cards I think in this set, hands down, is going to be John Silver, the Stern Captain. 8 cost, 6/6, shift 5, resist 2. At the start of your turn, deal 1 damage to each opposing ready character, and it also quests for 2. This card into steel is going to be insane. It's shiftable onto a John Silver. I think that there's going to be a John Silver locations deck. The old John Silver, the 3/3 that gets +1/+1 or +1 resist and +1 lore
Yep.
for each location. Like, it's just going to be crazy.
Oh,
It
yeah.
being a pirate, Jolly Roger, RLS Legacy, like these things are just going to pop off with this deck. So that one's definitely one I'm looking out for. Another one that I'm very high on is I'm Still Here. 3 cost song. Chosen character gains resist 2 until the start of your next turn. Draw a card. I think fits very easily into green steel. And pair it with Diablo. I think you could put it into a small creature deck with some 1s and 2 like weenie cards and have them surviving challenges. Maybe like a Pinocchio or something like that that has a 1/1 stat line that can now needs something with 3 attack to be able to take it out. Yeah, and the fact that it just cycles is very, very good.
Oh yeah.
And then on the amber side of things, Sugar Rush. What was it called?
Sugar Rush Speedway finish line.
That's what it is. Yeah, that card is going to make a amber location deck insane. You get to banish. Where's the text? When you move a character here from another location, you can banish that location to gain 3 lore and draw 3 cards. That's insane.
Yep.
Like, there's a lot of cards in this meta that are going to be able to move characters from location to location very easily. So this location is 2 uninkable, 6 to move in, 7 health. So you can drop it down very soon. But you gotta set it up. It's a little bit of a combo piece because you can't just drop it, play a character on turn 3, and you can't shift it in for 6. And you also have to have it set up with another location. So there's definitely some play there, but I definitely think there's going to be a location deck this set, and this card is going to fit really well into it.
Oh yeah, there's like so many different ways you can go about it. You can go about it with Ruby with like Tuk Tuk, or you can go about it with Amethyst with like the Magic Carpet, like moving stuff around for free. And then obviously Transport Pod at the beginning of at the beginning of your turn, so you could do something like
right, brother.
Yep. Yeah, so you could have it so like
Good.
at start of your turn, Transport Pod something there, back to it, gain 3
Yep.
lore, draw 3, and then play another one, or just there's gonna be some stuff. I'm definitely super interested to see with Amber. All right, so cool. Thank you for those, Joey. Let's go, Mike. Mike, your two were Ruby and Sapphire. So what?
Yeah, the colors of Crown Eaters.
Crane Eaters. Shout out to Monty.
Where's my box of crayons? Ow.
Yeah, so
Come on.
there's quite a few good cards that have been spoiled for
Mhm.
Sapphire specifically. I feel like I know we talked about Oswald and Baymax in the last episode.
Mhm.
Then you have all the Inventor cards that got spoiled. I can't even remember all the names, but
Yep.
I have chosen Sail the Azurite Sea, which was the most recently spoiled card that we saw.
Yep.
This card to me is one of the best I have seen in the set. It reads, it's a 2-cost action, inkable. This turn you may put an additional card from your hand into your inkwell face down and draw a card. So basically, you don't have to do that right away. You draw the card, and then you can ink that card whenever you wanted to.
Mhm.
So in a deck like Blurple, if you're not playing this on turn 2, for example, you could draw a bunch of cards and then play this, and then still ink one of the cards that you don't need anymore. You know, there's a lot of options. This card's always good. It's good on curve. It's good late game. It's just a very, very good card, and it replaces itself right away. So it's going to be a staple. Get your foils, get your promos, all that. Whenever it comes out, this is going to be one you want. And for Ruby, there's quite a bit of Ruby cards as well. There's 2 that I wanted to talk about. One is Thievery. It's a 1-cost action that says your chosen opponent loses 1 lore and you gain a lore. So it's kind of a net 2 lore kind of thing. Super good card. If you remember set 1 Aladdin, it's like a mini Aladdin. It has Abu in the picture, so it's a cool one as well. And then there's a lot of Ruby cards. I don't want you guys to think that I overlooked some of the other ones, but just the ones I thought had the coolest archetypes to explore. Moana, she's a 7-cost Kakamura leader. Shift 5. She's a 6 attack, 5 health, quest for 1. When you play this character, you move any number of your characters to the same location for free. Gain 1 lore for each character you moved. So there's some crazy things you're going to be able to do with this.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to quest with her, which I think is what makes her insane. Like that kind of effect is typically on a quest card. To get that when you play it, man, you can imagine not having a location out and shifting this card out, playing a location, then shifting this, moving all your characters that are out into that location and gaining, 4 or 5 lore for free. It's pretty good.
Maybe
I like
with Sugar Rush Speedway.
Yeah, exactly. Red, yellow. I mean, there's definitely an option there. That's going to be a fun one to explore the archetypes that we can do with it. So those are the ones I had.
And she's only a rare too.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, but just like for those of you that play Magic, like the Sail the Azurite Sea is basically Growth Spiral. So there's definitely going to be some scary things you can do with that card. Like talking about Blurple, like you could do something like play Growth Spiral, then like play Mufasa, get 2, put the 2 back immediately. Like there's going to be some crazy stuff that you can do.
Damn, John's cooking.
Yeah. Get off the stove.
the net 2 cards back doesn't even happen if you don't ink before that. Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, so
you have to have 10 ink.
You need 10 ink to but like how hard is that for you to get to 10 ink though?
Yeah, I mean that is relevant.
Yeah, so like that was something that I was thinking about when I saw the card. I think when you guys sent it in the group chat today, when I saw it, I was like, there's gonna be some stuff with that for sure. And then Brian, you have Emerald, Amethyst, 2 of your favorite colors. So what? I think I might have spoiled one of your cards, but we can continue anyway. So what are your cards that you like for those colors right now?
I've always been high on cards that allow me to bounce the opponent's characters, items, locations, whatever it is. I love tempo plays. Cloud Kicker, Mother Knows Best, anything and everything to like turn. Hey, you just make sure that you know that you wasted your previous turn. So now I get to not only do that, but I also get I get a little bit of support for doing it. So my first card is going to be Maleficent Staff. It's a 2-cost item, inkable. Whenever one of your opponent's characters, items, or locations is returned to their hand from play, gain 1 lore. So you could easily, man, like right off the bat, I'm like Diablo on 1, turn 2, drop this, shift Diablo, Mother Knows Best, and you're already off to the races with your lore game.
Yep.
Like before it was a problem was like, hey, especially in green purple, and you guys know I've always been trying to make a Diablo green purple deck kind of work. Especially with bounce package. We don't talk about Bruno. So I'm super excited for this. I'm excited to have 3 or 4 of these bad boys out on play all at once, and then gain 4 lore, dude. It's awesome. And then and we've already speaking about it earlier, but it shuts down other Amethyst decks so hard. The
Do you want to
Mims,
play Rabbit or Goat or whatever?
do you want to bounce that card with your Madam Mims? Like, I love it. So it checks that super hard, and to kind of ride off the coattails there, the other card that that got spoiled earlier on, and people have kind of stopped talking about it, is the Jasmine, the 6-cost inkable Jasmine that shifts on 5. And it states, when you play this character, if you shift to play her, return all other exerted characters to their player's hands. So there is a lot of shenanigans to be had.
Shenanigans.
I love it, dude. I'm
Genie
so
lock?
stoked. Like, I'm just saying, like, hey, if I have a rabbit and a goat out, and then shift this with the Maleficent staff out, now we're talking. Now we're cooking out here. I don't know. I'm super stoked with this set. It went from I think obviously it was early on, but I was like, I'm not super impressed. And then again, within the last 3 days, I'm like, trying to cook up all this different stuff. But and then we have Genie. I think everybody's already kind of seen it and spoken about it. It's the other legendary that got spoiled. 7-cost inkable, shift on 5. Whenever you play a card, draw a card at the end of your turn, put all the cards in your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order. So I love it. Even though you are putting your cards back into the deck, nothing stops you from ending and inking a card at the end of your turn. If you have a Clarabelle out, maybe you get to draw some cards. But it definitely reminds me of the Chandra from Magic the Gathering. It was a 4-cost, and essentially you would get cards from the top of your deck, put them in exile, and you could play them till the end of turn. This feels very similar. I think there's going to be some really cool decks that use that as a main engine, but stoked to see it.
Worth noting that you can bounce that back to negate the effect.
Negate the effect. Maybe I drop that Jasmine at the end of my turn and then bounce it all back. Let's go.
But there's also a cool thing with that card is the first card that enchanted or regular that alter the ink symbol on the top left. It has his hand goes over the ink symbol.
Oh yeah.
And then I won't hit on the transport pod too much. There have been a little bit of people, discussion talking about at the start of your turn, being able to move characters in before the draw
trigger.
effect. Before the effects trigger on Queen's Castle. So that'll be really cool to see. Again, I think location decks are definitely going to be a thing with this upcoming set. And in the previous set, we saw Hideaway as well as the new Cusco to kind of help out with those. But what I do want to hit on is an uncommon 1-cost, the new Diablo. Again, looking at that green-purple Diablo deck. This one does not feel as bad when you see it or later on in the game, right? Everybody hated running a 4 of 1-cost Diablo because it was great to see what your opponent was playing on turn 1. But anytime you hit it later on in the game, you're like, I wish it was something else. But now you have this Diablo. When this character is banished, you may draw a card. It's a 0/1 for 1, and hey, it's purple. Throw it in a library. Quest away with it if you don't get to shift it, and eventually you'll net a card.
At some point.
At some point in time. I mean, if they choose to ignore it, great.
You got 20 lore and you win the game.
So I am excited. I went from the set's kind of mid to I think mostly because the 2 legendaries, obviously Baymax and Oswald, had been leaked, but the what was it? The Hercules and the Hades. I was like, eh.
Yeah.
But we'll see, man. I'm super stoked. I know in the previous episode we spoke about like more thematic decks like pirates and whatnot,
Yep.
and here we're seeing
A ton of them.
a boatload, if you will.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh.
I got
Anyway.
one that wasn't in my colors that I wanted to mention just
Alright.
because of the implications with Blurple. I think it's very, very good. The 3-cost Madam Mim, uninkable. It's a 2/3 that you can
yeah.
pay.
Discard.
Yep.
Yeah, you pay 2 ink, choose to discard a card, gain 1 lore, so that's repeatable.
Yeah.
So if you talk about untapping with Mufasa, 8 ink or whatever becomes 16 ink, and then you have a bunch of cards in your hand, which you feel like you always do in Blurple, so
Gain
you just
15 lore.
Yeah, it could get really crazy really fast.
Especially
so,
once you've turned the corner already and you're kind of at like that 14, 15 ink mark.
Yep.
It's a broken spell book.
Yeah.
It's a
I actually think that the staff is the replacement for Spellbook.
Yeah.
It's gonna get so much lore. Like,
Yeah.
that card
For sure.
is so good.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, yeah. And even if you don't run into Amethyst, you just ink it. Like it's just ink.
Yeah.
Well, if you're playing green, you just bounce it yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's like so like definitely like look out for Brian's GP green bounce list.
Yeah.
So
EP bounce.
yep. So there is. That's what we have for Azurite Sea so far. There's a lot of cards spoiled. I don't know the count exactly, but I feel like we're
We
probably
gotta be close.
close to. I feel like we're close to half at least, if not more.
Yeah.
Set drops in what, like 3 weeks? I think
3
now?
weeks.
3 weeks at this
Yeah.
point.
3 weeks.
Yep.
Yep.
So definitely be on the lookout. Get your boxes, get your cases, get ready to be off to the races. Or set sail, I guess. That'd be more thematic.
Sail.
Let us know your favorite cards, some deck ideas that you guys are looking out for. Like I said, we'd love to chat and everything. So good luck to everyone who is going to Seattle. I hope you guys have a great time. I hope you guys win the games that you want to win, get as far as you want, get your prize tickets, get your mats, your promos, Rapunzel, Cinderella's, or maybe just some of your Lorcana mats that you want. But for the rest of the team, I am John. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night, and good luck. Peace.
See ya.
See ya.